Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in to today's webinar, Getting Your School's Buy-in for RealCare Baby Program. My name is Emily Winnestorfer. I will be your moderator for today's presentation. Presenting today, we have two of our Reality Works account managers, Ann Bogstad and Karen McDowell. Both have experience alongside in getting buy-in for implementing RealCare Baby programs and are great resources for today's webinar. Before we get started, I wanted to cover a couple things. First, today's presentation is being recorded and everybody will receive a link to that recording, as well as a link to the PowerPoint slides. For attending today's presentation, you will also receive a certificate of completion. You should see that in your email within 24 hours after the webinar. We will have a Q&A session at the end, so if you do have any questions, please feel free to type those in the chat area or Q&A section, and we will cover those along the way or answer any at the end. Just wanted to start off with a little bit about Reality Works and who you are. Many people know us from our RealCare Baby, but over the years and through our partnerships and collaborations with educators, we are able to offer a wide variety of CTE training tools to ensure our products and programs offerings are meeting the needs of all CTE classrooms. We are in over 62% of schools through the United States and over 90 countries worldwide. We partner with organizations such as ACTE and WINC, and not this year, but most years, we attend over 100 trade shows worldwide so teachers can see our products and learn a little bit more about us. Next slide. Our products are developed with hands-on learning in mind, from our RealCare Baby and our health science product line to our new welding and agriculture programs. We help teachers create lasting educational and experiential learning experiences. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and Karen is going to start out with what we will be doing today.
Thanks, Emily. So my name is Karen McDowell, and I am an account manager for Reality Works. I live in North Carolina, and I cover Virginia, North Carolina, and Connecticut. So here's just a brief overview of our agenda today. We're going to be moving pretty quick, so please, as we go along, chat any questions. Emily will moderate the chat, and we will make sure that we respond to your questions either throughout the webinar or at the end. So first off, mainly this webinar is going to be about, what we all bring to the table in helping you create buy-in for a RealCare Baby program. So, us at Reality Works, we have things that we can provide to help you. You also need to bring some things to the table, and we'll cover that information as well. Our educators throughout the country, they have a lot to offer in order of to provide support and motivation for a RealCare Baby program. Us as your account managers, we walk alongside you the entire way. So Ann's going to talk a little bit about specific things that we can do to help you. And then we're going to end with just a few creative strategies and also help you discover your next steps in starting a RealCare Baby program. So the first thing we want to talk about, as educators, you probably heard about Simon Sinek's TED Talk called Start With Why. And Simon Sinek really advocates that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so you're really here in this webinar not because of what RealCare Baby is. We know RealCare Baby is awesome, but you're here because of the impact the RealCare Baby program can make on achieving your goals or solving a problem. So we're going to watch a really quick video. It's about 3 minutes of some of our teachers around the country, and they're going to talk about some of the reasons why RealCare Baby benefits their students and programs.
The student's response is,
and if you can't hear that, please chat.
Amazing.
It is an awesome experience to afford your students.
RealCare Baby really gives the opportunity for students to open up conversations they may have never had.
Children look forward to taking the babies home. They learn a lot about themselves.
And to a lot of my students, it's an eye-opener.
It'll teach them real fast if they want to work with infants.
As a teacher of 20 years, I can tell you firsthand, you have to make your lessons relevant to the kid and meet them where they are. And kids aren't going to want to learn from you, and they're not interested in learning if it doesn't mean something to them. And so I think that this means something to them because they're responsible for it.
Is 100% a learning tool. It is a hands-on, you got to figure it out system.
I think it's one of the best learning tools that I have at my disposal because it's not me doing the teaching. They're teaching themselves.
It's the most advanced tool that we have. I think it gives them way more real life experience.
You know, it's just brought a different dimension to the classroom and such a realistic type of experience that I just really believe in it as a teacher.
Because that is the game changer for this class. And a lot of the students say that's the main reason why. You know, of course they're excited.
So funny when they so excited about taking them home, and then when they take them and bring them back, they're like, take this little thing, I'm not ready for it, you know.
I know, it always makes me smile because they realize it's real. They realize, oh my goodness, this isn't just a doll that I'm taking home. Like, I have to take care of this. I have to, and it starts to click in their mind.
It is much more realistic than, you know, other opportunities. And that baby's making noise and it's demanding your attention and you have to do something about it. It kicks it up a notch and it's much more memorable for students. They experience it in so many different ways that it does make an impact. And then it impacts them and their friends and their families and their relatives and the generations.
I have gotten so much feedback from my students being like, it's not just something that I carry around, it's something that I have to actually stop and think about. I am the one that's in charge of this. Nobody else is in charge of this. And to a lot of my students, it's an eye-opener.
It's the one piece that ends up on all of my reflections. It ends up when I talk to students years later.
I'm like, it knocks some reality into them.
It is a learning experience that you don't forget.
I just love that video and it's on our website if you ever needed to refer to it. We had quite a few people sign up for this webinar. Not everyone could join us live, but here are some of the reasons that we've heard in the past, because we've got health science educators, family consumer science educators, parenting teachers, administrators, nonprofit, a lot of different individuals registered for this webinar. So if those of you who are on the call, if you have figured out what your why is, I would love for you to chat it in the box. But some of the reasons we've heard in the past are starting a new program, increasing enrollment, career exploration, supporting child development or parenting classes. Lots of reasons why RealCare Baby is on your mind right now that you're trying to implement. Next slide, Anne. So those of us at Reality Works, we have a couple whys that we actually share when discussing the impact of RealCare Baby. I call this the 6 E's, and it's the program is very engaging, especially for Gen Z students. It supports experiential learning. It's also an innovative program, so it increases enrollment. We hear that all the time, that enrollment increases in programs that offer RealCare Baby. The curriculum encourages career exploration, not just in childcare skills, but students who are exploring, careers in health sciences, lots of other areas. It is an effective instructional tool. It is evidence-based, and we have resources to support that. And, once a teacher has been trained, it is very easy to implement. So now that you've thought about your why, let's discuss how we can create buy-in for the program. We're going to start with what Reality Works brings to the table. So Anne is going to take it from here.
All right, thank you, Karen. Very good information. And I'm going to piggyback on this last slide that Karen talked about with the RealCare Baby program, what Reality Works can bring to the table, what we've done to design this program to really fit the needs of our educators as far as your curriculum needs, the standards alignments, funding alignments. And you'll see as we go through the program here, you'll see each piece and why it's important, and then how you can use these pieces of the program program to help justify if you are taking this to your administrators or your school board or even your other educators and staff. So if you're not familiar with the RealCare Baby program, it is a lifelike infant simulator that has a computer inside the baby, and we include a variety of the supplies and accessories to help make it a very realistic experience. With this technology, our babies have a bottle, diapers, and clothing that needs to be changed, and there are sensors inside our bottle, so the student holds it up to the mouth of the baby so that it is very realistic, and they are actually making sure they're caring for this baby properly. In addition, we have a variety of accessories and storage units so that, again, it makes it the most realism with that car seat, making sure baby's safe in a car, how to transport it into the grocery store and out. And the storage is a great tool that many of our educators and administrators love to have because it does protect the babies and allows you to recharge the baby's batteries while they're being stored. And our programs, they can be customized and packages modified to your needs. We have schools starting out with one baby up to a whole class set and everywhere in between. And we're here to help you with that, to decide what's best for you. So the RealCare Baby program, we really did take time when we developed this to make sure it is a comprehensive program. We wanted to include standards-based curriculum so that this fits in with your program and aligns to the standards you need to meet. We also have that experiential learning hands-on tool, which makes it very unique. The students are actually doing the education and learning on their own, which helps them make their own decisions versus being, lectured to or going through slides. It's a great experience that's very memorable for them. And then in combination, we have many student activities that we've already prepared, done for you. We know teachers don't have a whole lot of time to reinvent the wheel. We've got that available for you along with assessment pieces. And the big important piece there is, the summative and formative assessments. Many times for funding, you need to have those check boxes covered, and we can help with that. I wanted to share this slide because it shows really big impact in how the baby's technology differs from a doll or something else that's out there. Our technology, there is that computer inside and rechargeable batteries and all these sensors so that the baby is very interactive. We actually have real baby cries so that it is very realistic. And then there is a report that is printed out after the simulation on all the care events, any abuse or neglect. And I'll show you that in a minute because that's a critical piece for being able to justify the accountability of the program, as well as possibly align to some funding as well. The curriculum that we include, we have over 50 hours of curriculum lessons, and we have them set up in different sections so we can cover this for childcare careers with that basic infant care, healthy choices or teen pregnancy prevention, parenting education, and even a middle school level curriculum. And you'll see here all the lessons that are there, teaching time, and keep in mind, you're able to take these activities and lessons and pick and choose what fits your program best. We set these activities up in about 25-minute to 45-minute sessions so that you're able to cover them in the class periods you need to. A great way to customize your program with everything that's already there for you. We also have those measurable assessments. I talked about the summative and formative. We have the summative, which is the pre and post tests, which are in each lesson. So we know what a student knows coming into the learning and then what they've learned after going through the lessons. Those are available. And then our formative assessment is this RealCare Baby Simulation Report, which is a phenomenal tool. You'll be able to see after the simulation, the program will give students points for every care event they meet, and any abuse or neglect is recorded and they are docked points. So they'll get an overall grade, and you'll be able to see exactly what time they missed the care events or handled the care events so that you can take this with your students, reflect on the experience, and start talking through it together. As we talked about earlier, standards alignment, certification, funding alignment is all very important in order to get approval many times. We have documentation on all of these different standards you see here. If you do find you have a state standard you want us to check to see if it qualifies for, reach out to your account manager. We're there to help, and we can take a look to see what we can do to make sure we show some alignments for you. And all of these are also available on our website. As Karen talked about earlier, the demand for careers related to infant care is high. There are high wage jobs, and this not only fits that early childhood education or parenting, but also pediatric nursing or social worker, even educators and teachers. So a variety of different ways you can utilize the program. And if you have, let's say 2 programs in your school, health sciences, and you might be early childhood education, you may be able to share the babies between the programs to be able to share some of that budget too. We've had schools do that. Here is a copy of our evidence-based white paper. So this does talk about that research that has done on the efficacy of the program. We have copies of this that we can share with you as well. And then the final piece I wanted to talk about with our program is we do include training for you. We want to make sure that it's a smooth process for you. The babies are very user-friendly to use, and our software very easy and flexible. But we do make sure that we include webinar training with each purchase that you can attend and understand how to use the program, as well as options for on-site training, all day or 2-hour refresher training. If you're coming into a program where there may be babies and you haven't been trained, we have those available for you. In addition, we can even, in many cases, there's funding that needs to have professional developed training. We may be able to package the babies right with that training for you to help you qualify for some of that as well. And then finally, our product support team. We want you to have a smooth transition or smooth startup. And so we do have a phenomenal product support team that can help you Monday through Friday, live assistance if you have any questions or need any help troubleshooting. In addition, we have a great product support page that allows you to access the videos any time of day for step-by-step instructions. And so from here, I'm going to turn it over to Karen, and she'll be able to talk a little bit about how some things you may want to prepare.
Thanks, Anne. So I promise it's not too painful what you need to bring to the table. It's pretty straightforward. And again, your account managers can help you and walk alongside you to discover and to sort of decide what these are. So number one is to know your decision-making process. We really, as account managers, we really need you to educate us on what your timeline is, what's your desired implementation date, so that we can sort of back up, the turnaround time. We need approximately four-week turnaround on our end. Also, are you going to need training? Let us think about how we need to get you as a teacher or your teachers, if you're an administrator on this call. We really do need to think about all those things. You also need to tell us what your budget is. That obviously is very important in creating quotes and thinking about startup implementation options. And you also need to figure out and talk to your administration to find out who is involved in this decision-making process. What is their motivation, their why? And, and kind of help them, educate them on the RealCare Baby program so that they can see how it's going to impact their goals and programs. Also in that purchasing process, sometimes there's board meetings that need to approve orders, POs. What's your purchasing office look like in terms of turnaround time? For some larger districts, there's typically a bid process, or if you're at a community college. So for you to sort of get all that information together before you come to your account manager is crucial in helping us work alongside you. The other thing that you need to do, and again, your account manager can help you, and that is to gather the resources. Anne mentioned alignments to standard certifications. We do have a lot of standards already developed for RealCare Baby, but like Ann mentioned, let's just say you really needed one to your specific state or a specific course. Reach out to us, give us some time to get those created for you. Also get any quotes. We can do one quote, we can do multiple options of quotes, and we'll talk about that later. We also have sole source documentation. RealityWorks is the only United States vendor of RealCare Baby. We are the developers of the product. No one else can sell it. So we do have a sole source documentation that can support your purchase. We also provide overviews of the curriculum to justify that it's meeting your curriculum standards. And you might need W-9 information or other vendor forms that you'll need to gather for purchasing. And finally, secure funding. There are so many funding options available for baby, but that really is the biggest question is we love this, we want it, but how do we get the money for it? Sometimes just going to your administrator, they have resources for funding that you may not, if you're a teacher on this call, that you may not know about. So you really got to, find out what funding options are available to you, or maybe just talk to administration and let them generate and worry about the funding. We also have options for multi-year implementation. So for example, you want 20 babies, but your administration has a different budget in mind. We can create options for you to start small and create a multi-year plan to expand your program over a few years. So that's pretty much it on what you really need to initially come to the table with. And now Ann's going to talk about others and what they can help you with.
All right, thank you, Karen. Working with many educators, some that are new teachers coming into the program that may not have experience with the babies, I have found, and they have found and shared with me that they've reached out to the educators around them. They have gone on to YouTube, and there are so many videos today where students are on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube sharing their experiences with the baby simulators. Those are great tools to be able to help show somebody the impact that the babies can make on our community, on our young folks. So take a look and review some of those ahead of time and be able to have some ready if you are taking this to a group to be able to get some approval. They are phenomenal and they're a lot of fun to watch. And also just right within your own districts as well. Ask other educators in your school. If you have other FACS teachers in your district, maybe at a different school or in a county near you, see if they have the baby programs and see if you might be able to work with them, maybe get some an interview or maybe share the babies with them to start so you can share it with your administrators. Strength in numbers, and sometimes if you I know some school districts, depending on the size, have multiple teachers in the same school building. Coming together for meetings, we have as account managers, Karen and I and the rest of the team, we will meet with your group if you want a presentation on the baby simulators and a demonstration. We can be there to help you and your other teachers, colleagues, administrators really evaluate this program. What we've heard from many of them that are using the babies is they have told us that many students sign up for their classes because they want to take the babies home. It is a very engaging tool that can help increase the enrollment in your classes. You can increase the visibility of your program since these babies are taken out into the school or after school into the community. It really shows what you're doing in your programs, that innovative technology and the amount and the type of learning that's being done. The students do remember this. I've had principals tell me when graduates come back, they ask them, what's the number one thing you remember about high school? And they say, the babies. So it's very memorable. These students are able to make their own decisions going through that experience. It is great for that career exploration and career development. And of course, this does appeal to the Gen Z. And so I just put up a few different testimonials here. This is Karen, who did talk about how many students come up, sign up for her class because of the babies. We've got a variety of testimonials on our website. Lorraine Clark here out of New York. So take a look at the website under our customer stories, and you'll be able to see many, many different ways that they're utilizing the program. So as far as what we can do to help you, Karen and I, we are 2 of 10 account managers throughout the United States. I handle California, Alaska, New York, and Massachusetts. Karen's got North Carolina, Virginia, and Connecticut. And then we have a variety of others to help in other states as well. So reach out to us at realityworks.com and we'll get you connected. But like Karen said earlier, we are there by your side throughout this process. So reach out to us if you have babies in your program and want to do a health assessment. Do I have all the tools I need to get started? Are my babies older? We do have a trade-in program. You can send any old babies to us for trade-in and credit towards the purchase of new babies. So we can help with that. As I mentioned, we can help with meetings and demonstrations. We can do a lot of virtual work meetings this way or in person. Reach out to us and we can talk through when and what that would look like. In addition, those quotes that Karen talked about, a lot of times we have administrators telling us towards the end of the year, either the end of the school year or even the calendar year, they have money they need to spend or they lose it. And if they don't have quotes or requests from their educators or teachers, they don't know that you want it. So really a good idea to start as soon as you can. If you're looking at adding this program, getting some quotes, we can do those multiple options, maybe the smaller basic option, an ideal option, and maybe somewhere in the middle. Great way to be able to have those right on hand and ready to go if they do come to you with any grants that pop up. And then working with purchasing, we have a lot of resources and tools to help them meet the needs that they need to qualify for with perhaps a sole source or W-9. Lots and lots of resources that we have available. Most of them are on our website, but certainly reach out to us to help you through that process. We've been through it many times and we love doing that. So I'm going to send it over to Karen. She'll talk a little bit about some final strategies.
Yeah, so really, here we are at the end of this webinar, and the next, the next step is, what do you do next? And honestly, the number one thing is to ask. If you don't ask, you won't have your wish granted. We hear from a lot of administrators. I talk with CTE department heads all the time, CTE coordinators who say, I ask my teachers all the time to tell me what is it they want for their programs, but they just don't tell them. So if they don't know that you're interested in RealCare Baby. And RealCare Baby is, it is an investment in students' futures, in your program's future. I mean, there are so many, as we talked about, so many impactful ways that RealCare Baby can help your program. Your administrators want to know if this is something you want to do. So the biggest thing to get the ball rolling is to ask. If you have creative strategies, please share them with us. For example, I talked to a teacher recently. She wanted to expand her program. So she already had a couple RealCare Babies, but her enrollment was growing. She wanted to expand. So she actually threatened to leave a RealCare Baby in her principal's office on the hardest, fussiest simulation until he approved her PO. I just thought, that was pretty creative. So think about some creative ways that you can make that ask. But honestly, the first step is just to vocalize that this is a program you are interested in and get that ball rolling, and then partner with your account managers and we will help you make it happen. So I think we pretty much covered everything we needed to do. We were told we had 30 minutes, so we wanted to be respectful of your time. If you have any questions, please chat them, and Emily is going to monitor the chat really quick. She also mentioned at the beginning all the resources you will be receiving via email. And then definitely, if you need to reach your account manager, you don't know who that is, you can call that 800 number or email information@RealityWorks, and we will get you connected with your RealityWorks account manager.
Perfect. I'll leave it open for a couple more minutes for any other additional questions that might come in. I do want to point out we do have a RealCare Baby implementation page as well. I'll send that over. You can download the case studies that Karen mentioned, see different ways to implement Baby into your different programs. So I sent that in the chat as well. And we do have a question. When I was trying to find articles in supporting or including the RealCare Babies into curriculum, I found articles against it and said, can you provide the information with the efficacy that combats these articles? To either Karen or Anne?
Yeah, I can respond to that. And Anne's been around a lot longer than I have. And correct me if I'm wrong, Anne, but those articles, they were not implementing RealCare Baby the way it was designed to be implemented. And, and it was, I believe we do have a statement or something that responds to those articles as it relates to pregnancy prevention, but it was not being implemented in an abstinence-based type program. So
that is correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yep, that is correct. So there is some of that out there. So what I'd say too is depending on where you are, what state you're in, reach out to your account manager and maybe share that article too. We can help share the resources that we have about maybe that article, and you might have posted it there. But yeah, absolutely. And we have a variety of different efficacy statements we can help you with. Good question.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, in the chat, I just did include our response. It was in a blog regarding that study. So if you just want to click that link, it'll take you to that. And then we do, on that implementation page, we do have case studies regarding the RealCare Baby as well. All right, I'm not seeing any additional questions coming in at the time. Just want to thank everybody for taking time out of your day for joining us on this webinar. We really appreciate it, and we hope that you guys all have a great rest of your day. Thank you.